are standing in front of the equestrian statue of General George Gordon Meade, the commander of the Army of the Potomac at the Battle of Gettysburg. And the monument, sculpted by Henry Kirk Bush Brown, was dedicated on June 5th, 1896. You might know Brown also did a monument to General John Fulton Reynolds on the first day's battlefield, and a number of other monuments around the battlefield. So General Meade, you know, it's interesting about him, and I've always been puzzled about Meade in literature written on the battle. I understand that when you read about the Battle of Gettysburg, you know, a lot of the books discuss how aggressive Robert E. Lee is in the action on July 2nd and 3rd, even July 1st, and how the Southern Army are the attackers. So there's this propensity to imagine that the Northern Army are the defenders, and basically they do nothing during the battle except sit on top of the hill behind the stone wall. And there's been this sort of, you know, idea that Meade is cautious and that he's not as aggressive as he should be, and that after the battle, General Meade was cautious in the pursuit of Robert E. Lee. And, you know, a lot of this stuff is just depends on how you look at it. And a few things about General Meade: he took command of the Union Army on the morning of June 28th, 1863. And on June 28th, he spent much of the day learning the whereabouts of the two armies, going over all the messages and correspondence that had been sent to the headquarters, and developing a plan. On June 29th, he marched his army northward in pursuit of Lee. And, you know, the 2nd Army Corps marched 35 miles on June 29th. Of course, the 5th Army Corps marched on the, July 1st and into July 2nd during a 24-hour period. They marched a good 25 miles to get here. And on July 1st into the early afternoon of July 2nd, the 6th Army Corps marched over 30 miles. This man is not being cautious, and he actually marches his men so aggressively that he forces his way into Lee's army before Lee is able to concentrate. And during the 2nd day of the battle, it's a very active defense in which he's shifting troops back and forth and always seems to have reinforcements that arrive just at the right moment. And on July 3rd, as Lee's army was being repulsed here on Cemetery Ridge, he had actually ordered reinforcements to this site from from Culp's Hill and down the line near Big Round Top. And there were massive amounts of reinforcements on their way here, just in case the Southern Army broke through. Now, General Meade defeated Robert E. Lee at the Battle of Gettysburg in a decisive manner. And, you know, after the battle, people wonder why Meade didn't just capture Lee's army and end the war. So, you know, I always had a problem with this concept too. So Robert E. Lee hasn't been beaten really in a battle, unless you count Antietam, you know, as a draw. But General Meade is the first person to ever soundly defeat him, and then the next day he's supposed to force Lee's army to surrender. Remember, it took almost a year of Grant's army just pounding Lee's army to force it to surrender. So the whole thing is just ridiculous. And he does pursue Lee as best he can. But one thing I'd point out is that General Meade lost more men at the Battle of Gettysburg than any other American army had ever lost in any battle in any war, and he won. And the other thing I always like to point out is that Gettysburg is the greatest battle in American history, and everyone says General Robert E. Lee is one of the greatest American generals, and Meade beat him. Doesn't that make General Meade the greatest general in all of American history? And I'm not just saying that because I grew up outside of Baltimore near Fort Meade. Oh, wait, maybe that's why I am saying it. Remember, if you like all the historical content we put up on our channel, please like and subscribe.